This may be the last days of Sprout. Uh, well, I woke up today, this morning, and I was going to do a video on uh, the GPD WinMax 2 that I was sent by GPD. It's a replacement. I had a mechanical failure on my first one. It was on the finger trigger buttons here, which is odd because I'm not a gamer. I didn't even use those. Excuse me. Uh, they did replace it. The whole process took about a month. I'm not gonna put it all on them. I waited a couple of days, and then apparently they needed some more information. Was that a stall or not? I don't think so. Uh, and then there were some hangups in shipping. It shipped from the UK, so there was a little couple of days of customs and whatnot. I did have to check on it at one point and ask, do you just want to refund me the money, or do you want to send me this because I'm losing productivity time? And they did, excuse me, react and take care of business. I have had much worse customer experiences. Believe it or not, Lenovo was one of the worst. It used to be great. Uh, it used to be, very business focused. And I remember if there was a problem with a machine, which would happen occasionally, I would have, they would send you this kind of neat mailer. You put the computer in there, and then uh, you kind of close it, and sort of shrink wrap kind of seals down onto the machine. So it was a nice self-protected mailer. They really had that worked out. And you have the like a self-addressed stamp envelope. It has the shipping information on it. You just drop it off, and boom, it goes away and comes back. Very quick turnaround time, 3 days, something like that sometimes. But that went away. In fact, the last Lenovo I had, uh, they assured me they had it um, for I don't know, a month or more, months maybe, and it turns out it was. While they assured me they had it, I think it actually was caught in a FedEx bucket somewhere. Um, but and they blamed on me like, well, why don't you check with FedEx? And it's like, because you guys assured me you had it. Uh, my customer rep was awful, truly awful. And at one point, they sent me somebody else's machine with their data on it. Uh, so that was, and since then I switched over to Toughbooks and haven't looked back, which is unfortunate because there are some Lenovo products that would probably fit me well. But right now, I simply won't use them. That may change in the future, but there's a bad taste in my mouth. Anyway, but I was going to do the WinMax 2, but the Sprout, the camera started acting up. Uh, I'd get lots of scan lines and things of that nature. Sort of, you can see it if you play with the gain, and I could not. This seems to be behaving well right now, but it seems to be misbehaving a little bit. I would get things like, strange gain problems, like that kind of thing. And it either get lines or overexposed or what have you. So I was definitely having some problems, and it's still not great. And I am starting to wonder if it's time to retire the ye um, Sprout. The Sprout GT was a neat platform, uh, but it was hampered. It had a lot of problems. This concept was neat. You have a projector up here and which is creating this desktop on the desk. So this is a projected. Obviously, you can see the shadows. But, well, the angle's lowered. The angle's actually very good, which makes it sort of hard to see the shadowing sometimes. Uh, but there is. There we go. There's the shadowing. So it's a projector and an overhead camera all in one. You can use a light or actually make the monitor down here. There's a little control panel you can use for the touch mat. And this is a 10-point touch mat. Uh, and it is nice. The G2 uses an active pen, so you get discretion from your hand, uh, so you don't get a bunch of drawing turds, uh, which is nice. Which is nice. So it's a neat system, and this is actually kind of cool, so you can snap pictures and take a picture. It did have 3D scanning, does have 3D scanning. Um, Honestly, I could never get the G2 to work. I do have a G1, and while the scanning was never great on either one of them, this one, the scanning just doesn't work. Uh, you put an item down, and it says can't acquire item, you put your hand out there, it says move your hand. So I never could get the scanning to work on the G2. The software ecosystem is dead. Which is always the problem. HP kind of made they put Windows 10 on it. Can't run Windows 11. I'm fine with that. Um, but they've kind of put a shell on top of it, their own workspace shell. And HP's done this a number of times. I mean, even in the very early 90s, late 80s, which always just was very clunky. I think they expected you to work in that shell, and it just was a whole different way of working, and it just kind of got in your way. But overall, I love the concept. However, it's getting old, and it seems like this channel, what I'm looking at with, things like the computer and the watch and my phone, my journeys with my phone is not trying to be too consumerist, but tools for living. That's what I'm looking at. That's kind of how I started this, actually learning how to use OBS Studio and all that, and that's still a work in progress. Um, but since this is tools for living, once this starts getting in my way, I'm not going to use it, because these tools are all, well, they're tools. They're here to support and facilitate my work, what I'm trying to do, and not get in the way. I respect, people who are collectors and want to keep the various parts of technology alive. Very cool. I get that. Um, that's not what I'm doing in this specific realm. This overall project. I'm trying to streamline my own life and live a little better. And I think maybe we all are, and I think even so, I'm not trying to be consumerist maximalist, but I'm also not trying to be minimalist where uh, things don't work. I want to use this technology and all these tools um, to make a better life, tools for living, I suppose. So the Sprout may have to go soon, or at least be put away as a museum piece somewhere. But clutter is one thing I'd rather not have at this point in my life. I think I have too much of it, as most Americans do, and not particularly interested in that. Uh, but so I thought I'd make this video because it's going to be a little more difficult to make the other video uh, about the GPD, but I will endeavor to do that. So thanks for listening. I just wanted to kind of give you an update and let you know with the Sprout. Oh, one thing about the Sprout, I did have a user uh, uh, comment, critically and duly so about my audio and my voice setup. And one, I'm not a golden throat. I sound like Bullwinkle Moose. I understand that. Uh, but the audio system isn't good. I was using a basically a Plantronics ripoff, like a cheap. It was actually a review copy, so it's probably not more than 15 bucks anyway. And I'm using a really bad gaming headset. I thought I'd give that a try to see if that works, but it isn't enough. And with the audio interface, I'm just going USB straight into the Sprout off a wireless dongle. Um, I do have a mic or two that would work, but they're presentation mics. I have a like a EVRE 320, but I don't want that in my face while I'm doing things here. So I'm not sure that's the way to go. I would like to have the freedom of a wireless headset mic, especially if I can walk around and do certain things. Uh, so that journey continues. If anybody has any suggestions, that would be great. I figure since we are doing sort of things about tools for living, and the user that commented, absolutely fair. They mentioned maybe you could use AI or something to correct things. Well, I don't think we really need that. The speed of this Sprout wouldn't support it anyway. I loaded one of the voice changers just to see what would happen, and it blurpled and bloopled and just it brought too much processing lag. Also, these are sort of basic mic technique things I should work through anyway. So I don't mind working with tools to get the right result and learn along the way. So that's something we will continue. So my apologies for the faulty audio. The user that mentioned the audio heard, understood, and I'm working on it. Uh, so there we go. I guess I'll make another video about the GPD and see if I can get it to look somewhat okay and sound somewhat okay. But thank you very much for listening.